Hey guys, and welcome to yet another speed build. Happy Thursday. Yep, it's Thursday. I'm losing track of the days by now, but we're back again. This time we are in Windenburg, my favorite place in the world. Well, my favorite world of all worlds. In The Sims, that is. So we're in Windenburg. We're in the old town. This is normally called South Square Coffee, where that cafe place is in Windenburg. Yeah, so we're in the old town, and I asked you guys to leave suggestions and stuff for new videos because I was planning out my next 6 weeks worth of builds, which is kind of what I've got in the habit of doing now. I plan out 6 weeks ahead of time what I'm going to do. Of course, that's subject to change and whatever whim does pop into my head and possible releases of game packs interrupting my flow. But it really does help me, and I think I've been a lot more consistent here on the channel since I've been planning out my builds. So with all that being said, I asked you guys to help me, and I'm not going to say I ignored all your suggestions because I did very much read them, but I came up with one that I liked even better. So I really wanted to think of buildings that were maybe a little bit more interesting, not just your typical house. So that got me on this weird thread of thinking, wouldn't it be good if you had like an old station, like a train station, and it was converted into a house and all that stuff. And then it led me to a train station that was in Bath. And then that just led me to remembering the greatness that is Bath and all of the hours I spent trawling through Bath on Google Street View for Brightchester, and I absolutely loved those builds. I had so much fun doing the builds for Brightchester. We've kind of done all the traditional builds apart from the huge lots, which is the library lot and also the commons. I think we'd done all the other traditional ones, and I took inspiration from Bath then, and I was like, there's so much more to build in Bath. Let's do it. So this is the start of a kind of mini series where I'm going to be doing builds inspired by Bath and putting them into Windenburg. That is it. The old part of Windenburg is going to be completely renovated by moi. My own two hands are going to renovate all of Windenburg. So this is the first of many builds. I'm going to try not to oversaturate it, so it is a mini series, but it's not going to be like bam 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 build after one another. Well, that's unless these become really popular, then maybe I will. But the aim is to have one a week. So I didn't want to oversaturate it with all of the themes, but one a week, most definitely. That's what I've got on my schedule as it is. I think 1 week, maybe there's 2 of them, but yeah, that's what we're going with so far. And so if you would like to visit the inspiration for this, as I said, it is in Bath. It is actually the one on the right-hand side, which is going to be a cafe, is inspired by Ted Baker on Milsom, I think it's Milsom Road. I'm gonna click, so excuse my mouse clicks as I click on Google Street View to take me there. It's Ted Baker, and it's 46 Milsom Street. Milsom spelled Milsom, in Bath, and there's a Ted Baker shop there. Ted Baker's, I don't know if they were outside of Europe. Ted Baker's a British fashion label, and it's an awesome building. So I was like, snatched. And then literally 1, 2, 3 doors down, there is actually a bookshop, and they have like printed out. That's what I've used for the left-hand side. They have the same archways, and it's kind of a bit more colourful. It's almost kind of like a terracotta colour and a brown granite. I don't think it's marble. I'm going on Street View right now. No, it's a granite. So like a browny granite and a terracotta kind of stone block work. And they had, I can tell that it's just like a printed out photo of a bookshelf with all the books in it, and they have that in the window to kind of cover up so you can't see inside. It's a bit mysterious, I must say, but I decided to do that instead with bookshelves in the windows of our bookshop that is going to be there. So this lot can have multiple uses. Please, EA, Sims gods, please can we have multiple lot categories? Please and thank you. I would love it if this could be functioning as both. I know there is a mod by, is it Lil Miss Sam? Is that what her username is? Okay, I know someone said this to me when I did the cafe in Brightchester, but you can do it that if you put things in, then you get the required employees coming. So I have made sure to put in like a cash register in the bookshop. There is also computers on the first floor of the bookshop, so it's kind of a bookshop slash, it could also be a library, it can also be an internet cafe, and then there's also the regular cafe on the right hand side, which I suppose if you just put, you need a chef station though to make the cafe into a restaurant, but there's possibilities, there's plenty of room. There's actually like 3 levels on the right hand side and 4 levels on the left hand side, but I've only actually filled out 2 levels of each of the buildings, so hopefully that won't lag a game. Sometimes in the past I have put like apartments in these places, and there's just really no point, to be honest. If you want an apartment, you can build an apartment. There's plenty of expansion room, but it just serves to kind of lag the build, and there is already a lot of decoration on this, so I kind of want to limit it so it doesn't kill your computer if you decide to download it. I don't want it dying, okay? Preserve those computers, don't be too hard on them. So yeah, the top floors are empty. I've just put some curtains in the windows so they don't look derelict. Pro tip. And I've also made sure that they're completely grey on the inside, so they're all dark and you can't really see into them. So that's what I did. But yeah, I just got so inspired. I don't know what came over me. If you saw my face, and I was so excited to get this series going that words, I was like out of breath. You know when you're so excited and you're speaking so much and you're like la, 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 and that was it. So I'm very much excited to get this one going. I got super inspired and I planned out every single build in the old town of Windenburg. I think apart from, there's one. So for the other plans, let me just give you a sneak peek. So we of course here have a cafe. I wanted to keep kind of similar to what was already here, but of course we need to add a restaurant because restaurants are bae. Even though they take you 5 years to get served in The Sims, I still enjoy them. There are, like, my most built commercial lot has always been a restaurant, most of the time because it's also like a hotel. We can't have hotels in the game, so I normally build them as restaurants and zone them like that. But this one's going to be zoned as a cafe on the gallery. It's there now, by the way, and also there is a link in the description to link you to the Tumblr post that details the Felixander sets you're going to need, and also links you to my CC that is included in this build. That's it. Just in case you didn't realise, it's going to be Felixander and my content only in this whole entire renovation. But yeah, so this one's going to be a cafe. I'm going to do maybe some kind of private members club on where the nightclub normally is. I think I'm going to still keep it as a nightclub. Normally in a private members club you'd kind of have a restaurant, but I wanted to keep a separate restaurant. I don't want too many restaurants, so I might do it that it has all the elements to become a restaurant if you want to zone it as that, but it's going to be like a boutique hotel on a couple of levels, and then down below there'll be like a bar, lounge / nightclub. So that's That's the in thing now. Everyone's got to be part of a private members club. And that's what we're going to have. So instead of Soho House, we're going to have Windenburg House there for your Sims to be bougieing it up. Okay, I think I may also put the lot trait that it's like the hotspot. You know, that was a lot trait that came with Get Famous. You can be a hotspot. So, you know, if you ain't famous, you ain't coming in. Of course, you can remove that in case you don't play with fame in your game. So don't worry about that. But I just thought it'd be fun to put that in. And then the other lot that is opposite this, so that was the lot that's kind of directly next to this. The lot opposite this is going to be a restaurant. I have that build all planned out as well. So I do like to add restaurants in. I think that's like the one thing people mostly request to be added into the kind of older worlds, or well, actually all worlds, because no worlds come with a restaurant in because they have to be kind of base game and that expansion pack compatible. They never have restaurants because you need a game pack for that to work. So that's probably the number one thing that people always want to place or need those kind of objects to place. If you don't have Dine Out already, I do recommend it. It would be one of my recommendations. I think someone said the other day, like, why do people keep recommending Get Famous? Are you like, I think it was like, oh, you guys are paid to recommend Get Famous. No, not Get Famous, Get Together, because I keep on bleating on about it. I presume someone else, some other simmer, had also been bleating on about Get Together and how amazing it is. No, we are not paid to recommend packs to you. 0 payment received. So I only recommend things that I would actually recommend because I get nothing out of it. So yeah, I highly recommend Dine Out though. I use the elements on it and the build by objects in lots of my builds. I've used it heavily in this build, even though it's not a restaurant. There's so many elements that I love. I've also used my separated picnic benches there. So that uses the Dine Out booth. I clone the Dine Out booths and put the picnic benches into them. So your sim will kind of slide onto those and use them as a booth like they do in Dine Out. It's just that they look a lot cuter. I have to say, I wish we had more booths. Of course, that's never going to happen because it is a game pack, so they're not going to add to it. But I would love it. I don't know if I voted for that to be improved in, you know, that community survey where they're like, what packs would you like to see have like a refresh? I don't know if I voted for that. I'm not too sure. But I would love it if we could just get some more items for it. I think the system is nice, but I think it's pretty buggy. As I said, it takes like 5 years for your Sims to get served. Like fully functioning, working, that would be it's amazing, but I think it's been pretty buggy from the beginning. There's been times where it's been better than others, but I still recommend it even with the bugs, believe it or not. So take it or leave it. It's buggy or not. So yeah, we've quickly gone through the outside of this build. I haven't said as much about it apart from it's inspired by 2 buildings in Bath, but yeah, I cut out the footage of the back of the build. It's kind of from off the top of my head. I didn't get reference for that, and it's the back of a build. The backs of these builds were never meant to look pretty. But I prettified it for you. So if you download it, spin it around, it still looks good from the back, not just the front. I'm not guilty of just making it look good for the thumbnail, okay? I make sure that it's completely finished all the way around. Promise. I promise. So yeah, we're on to the cafe here, which is a very posh cafe, I've got to say. It's very elegant. I was trying not to go as traditional, and well, the one I did for Brightchester, I did a cafe for Brightchester, and it was very French, very opulent, way over the top. This one, I still wanted to keep the classic elements. So I've actually used the colonial, I've used Georgian chairs in here. So yeah, if you've got Felix Anderson content, I'm definitely using the London collection here, and also the Georgian collection. I think I've also used the Gatsby, which is the Art Deco one, and then various ones on the outside for the the trims because I like to mix and match the trims. But as I said, all of that is detailed in the Tumblr post. So yeah, I just wanted to mix modern with traditional in here. Not too stuffy, but it's a classy establishment, you know. I've wanted this to be one of those places that you're like, oh, let's go and grab brunch, and you go to one of these places. Unfortunately, you can't just do that in the game. You don't have like, hey, let's just go and get pancakes, you know. It would have to be like a full-on restaurant. So I kept this as a cafe because, as I said, I didn't want too many restaurants. I could quite easily do the members club as a restaurant. I could do everything as a restaurant, but no, we need to mix it up. So this whole square, you should be able to come and entertain your Sims. So you've got the cafe, I didn't want to put in the library again. So I've changed what is now the library lot traditionally into, which is going to be a restaurant, because I'm like, how many people send their Sim to the library? To be quite honest, I never send my Sim to the library. And just in real life, there are less and less libraries by the second, to be quite honest. And those libraries that are still open are just full of computers. So I thought, you know what, we can do the bookstore, and it can also double as a library and a library that includes computers. So it's a kind of internet cafe thingy. But the whole idea of this one as well, I've put a door connecting the two, so they look like separate from the outside, but my storyline in my head was that they have the same owners, so they're actually one business, but they have their own separate identities. So you can walk through from the cafe into the bookstore and vice versa. I must say, for security reasons, that's not a very good idea in real life, but it's The Sims. No one's going to steal anything. It's fine. So, you know. I've used these sofas, round tables, by the way. Those are purely decorative, as in you can't sit at a table by using a sofa, but I have made sure that your Sim can actually sit there. So your Sim would actually sit there and just hold the plate in their hand if they want to sit there, and then the other side just functions normally as it would with either chairs or the picnic benches. They work fine. I have play tested this, so there were a few things that had to kind of change. The sofas first of all didn't work, so I had to like pull out the tables. Also, there's the 3 arches on the bookshop. I had to remove the decorative arch that goes above the door because, well, your Sim can't walk through it if it's there. So I removed that so you can still use the entrance. So it looks slightly different on the, I don't know if I took the screenshots before or after I play tested, but yeah, that will all be fixed. So it should all be fully functioning. I brought my Sim self here to play test it, and then I realized that I must have another version of myself in the world because the barista that was here was me. So it was me ordering from myself. I don't know, I feel like this could be turned into some kind of movie. But yeah, it was me ordering from myself to playtest this build. So it's just a little bit weird. You know. Yep, so you'll be able to sit at these. They're all fine, and I've put rugs around. And I think even though it's kind of light and it just has the blues, whites and kind of grey, it's not a cold looking place. And I was half tempted to put darker woods in here, but I thought no, let's keep it different. This side is very much light, bright and airy and all that good stuff, and then the bookstore is just super duper dark, moody and all that. I have got to say, I've never wanted the ability to paint ceilings more than I have in that bookshop. When I was taking the screenshots, I was like, yeah, let's take these screenshots. Also moody. Yeah, and then you get this massive flash of white from the ceiling. You're like, oh, it's an instant mood killer. You know, it's just like, wah, wah, wah. Your image could look so good, and then I'm like, I don't want to Photoshop this out and like burn. You know, you got the burn tool in Photoshop. I don't want to burn out the ceiling, you know. I would just like it not to be bright white. Like, can we maybe have a choice of like 2 colours? No, not 2 colours, because I would get annoyed with that as well. But can we have multiple colours, please, for the ceilings? Or there's lots of modern builds I want to recreate, and they always have like wood on the ceiling to match wood that's on the floor or on the walls to like, and it's not possible. Damn you, ceilings. I don't know what, I don't think I've seen any kind of statement or debate from the Sims team about the possibility of painting ceilings. Yeah, I don't think I've noticed that. If you have ever heard some talk about the possibility of ceilings being customizable in the game, please let me know, because to my recollection, I don't remember that ever being said. But yeah, so we're into this upstairs. I want to do this kind of atrium, looking down onto where the barista is serving and everything down there. So I wanted it to be like a double height to connect the ground floor with the first floor. Just a slight note, I put in the toilets there. I don't show them on camera, but I put in 2 toilets at the front of the build on this first floor, and I went to play test and they didn't work. Now I've got to say, there's a trim that I use on the front of the building, and for some reason the footprint of the trim is absolutely frigging ginormous. So I had to make the toilet bigger. Now I only had room to do that on one side, so that toilet, that door you can see there, the toilet behind that is kind of decorative and the other toilet's functional. I'm just like, I think whatever object was used to clone and make that trim must have been a big item, which all the other trims aren't like that. I think it was one of the like first pieces that Felix created, so I think it just needs a little bit of an update, to be honest, to make the footprint smaller, because I have a habit, look, it's fine if you do it at the top of a wall like it's supposed to be, but I constantly play around with proportions in the game, so I'll often put a trim on the next floor up to make the floor below look taller, which is what I did on this one. So if it's at the bottom of the floor, it kind of, your sim thinks it's not possible and the area is blocked. But if it was at the top of the wall like it's supposed to be, your sims will be fine with it. So yeah, so I played around a lot with proportion on the outside of this. You'll see that the bookshop looks like the front of it is way, way, way taller than the cafe, and I've done some jiggery pokery trickery to make it look like that. I've used the crescent walls that come in the London set on the first floor rather than the ground floor, and then connected them. I've actually used the bathroom windows on then the ground floor, and it looks like they are just one, which I was really happy with how they connected and how they came together flawlessly, especially with the decorative arch going in front of them. They just look like they are one, and it's supposed to be like that, so I was pleasantly surprised. And then that also means that you get windows up on the first floor, and you get them at the ground level, which is really cool. I've seen those quite a bit in New York. I always see like cafes and stuff I've been into, when you go onto the first floor, they always have the windows at the bottom, like the curved kind of industrial looking windows. They're always at the bottom of the floor. And I can't remember what they look like underneath. I suppose it's just a normal shop front at the front. But yeah, I enjoyed it, and it looks cool in game too. So we used that, and I've got a lot of the debug out for this bookstore. Sorry, I got totally distracted by what's actually on the screen and what I should be talking about. But yeah, as I said, lots of playing around with proportions on the outside so that I can give the illusion that the bookshop has way taller ceilings than the cafe does, but in fact they are the same. So yeah, I like doing that. I think I did something similar on Spring Steps Townhouse, where I used the shortest wall height at the bottom and put the door into that, and then did an arch on the next floor up to make it look like you had some weird over 2-level door thing. And this one was a lot more simpler to do than that. And then you don't have to have the shortest wall height. I must say, I hate the shortest wall height. Like, it's not often in a build that I do the shortest wall height. So, and it's also, it's shortest wall height for me is for like cozy suburban homes. You know, these with all the trims on the outside. If you put the trims on the outside of these builds, they look short AF. I'm not joking. It's like they look short and you're like, what the hell is going on? Like, why is my walls look so tiny? And like, it doesn't look tall at all because the trims are so big, and that's what they are in real life. But yeah, I like the way the exterior turned out, let's just put it that way. And also the interior, which was quite fun. I went and used lots of debugs. And this A-frame goodness, I knew that was somewhere, so I just found it. I've put the stacks of books. I don't know what these are for in the game. I don't think I've ever seen them being used, because there is no such thing as a bookshop. And their base game, they're not from Get to Work. I'm not too sure what those stacks of books are for. If anyone knows, please let me know, because I know they've been in the game since the very beginning, but I don't know what they're actually meant to be for. But yeah, if you do turn this into a retail store instead of a cafe like it is assigned now, then you have things to sell, I think. I think you can sell those. Well, I hope you can. Maybe you can't. I'm not too sure if you can do a proper functioning bookstore in the game, but as I said, this is a cafe, so it just looks pretty, you know? And once again, please, dear EA people, multiple assigned lots. Thank you. Multiple use lots. Yeah, that's the one. But yeah, I'm just going around putting in more and more bookshelves. This one, I decided to change the open door into a closed door and then put another display in front of it with more books on it, because I just felt like we needed more books on display for a bookshop. It's like there was a lack of books. I know the bookshelves, to me, I don't know, the bookshelves don't seem to be like the selling points. It's kind of these console tables that seem to be the breakout sections that kind of sell the books to you. And we've put a nice little desk there behind, and those what they call tills, they only go, you guys in America don't call it a till, do you? Do you call it a register? We call it a till here in the UK, and they only go on, like, I think it's worktops, so I got that one out from Get to Work. There just seems to be this one with this, I think it's got like a sun on it, a sun emblem. It's actually really nice. And there's like one island counter, I think, to match that, which I didn't have to use because that thing is ginormous and I only have a small shop to put it in. But yeah, there is one like island counter. It doesn't have cabinets to go with it. It just has the island counter, which, again, we won't do the debate of lack of kitchens in the game. Because I have CC. I'm not that angry about it. But, you know, sometimes just like a new kitchen. I think the last new kitchen we had, was it Island Living? Was Realm of Magic was after, but we still don't have cabinets, do we? No, we don't have cabinets. I don't think they ever intended to give us cabinets, which is weird with that one. So there's no cabinets for the Realm of Magic counters, and I've got to say those are like probably my least used counters in the game, because they're quite a specific look, I've got to say. As I said, I've said this before, I think in another video, but Realm of Magic, I was really disappointed with the items that came with it to start off with, but as I've done builds, every once in a while you'll just see this item, you're like, wow, it's from Realm of Magic, it's really nice, but it's very much a kind of, I'll do a build and there'll be like maybe one, maybe two items from Realm of Magic maximum, and yeah, that's about it. Like, I really like the floor mirror that came with it. I like the coffee table. I'm not actually a fan. There's like a side table that came with it that's round and has these weird legs. Yeah, not a fan of that. But there's a couple of pieces that are nice. But yeah, I think I'd recommend other packs over Realm of Magic. Probably because I'm not a big magic fiend. There are lots of people that love having magic in the game. Still have not touched anything to do with magic in this game. Haven't even attempted to level up a sim just out of interest. I haven't done it. Still actually haven't done the Strangerville story, which I really want to do because it actually looks really fun and I really want to do that. And then I could get the crazies out of Strangerville. Mind you, I haven't played the game in ages, so. And with this 6 weeks worth of builds scheduled out, I won't get to play the game anytime soon either. My whole idea is to plan out the 6 weeks, 2 weeks, spend 2 weeks bulk recording enough videos for 4 weeks, and then spend the other 2 weeks of the month on custom content. I don't know if this is going to work out, people. But yeah, I'm trying to juggle it. I think it's easier to kind of stick with just doing one thing at a time rather than trying to switch between things, if you get what I mean. So yeah, that's what we're trying to do. And as I said, now that I actually schedule them and I do all the research to do with the builds, sometimes I just use to dump ideas, but now I actually do full research, tag everything, make the Pinterest board for the build, link everything, put any notes, just do a brain dump in the description. I use Trello, by the way. If anyone's thinking they want to organise their life, Trello, I highly recommend. Free as well. I do a brain dump. I make pretty cover images. I make sure I get the cover image so that I actually want to look at my Trello board, because writing does not capture my eyes. And yeah, I get everything planned out so that I don't have to think about it. I can just go straight into, when I finish one, I build the next. So I know exactly what I'm going to do after this. But anyway, screenshots. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back very, very soon. Miss you already. Bye, guys.